name is Pradeep Kumar. I am the Oregon Chair for the ComSAC. We have a number of different societies on the West Coast who are co-hosting these events. So I'd like to welcome all of our co-hosting partners onto this call as well. And without further ado, I will hand this over to Dr. Raf Varathambi, who will introduce the speaker. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Pradeep. Okay, I'm very happy to introduce our speaker today, and he is my friend and a colleague, Dr. Cheng Chen. He's a senior staff wireless standards engineer at Intel Corporation. He leads Intel standardization efforts in Wi-Fi sensing, integrated millimeter wave, and also Intel's Wi-Fi certification programs. Dr. Chen currently serves as the editor for IEEE 802.11 BQ task group and technical editor for Wi-Fi 7 technical task group and the vice chair for the Wi-Fi sensing task group in the Wi-Fi Alliance. Dr. Cheng is a member of IEEE, and as you know, he is for this year and next year IEEE ComSoc Distinguished Lecturer. Dr. Chen has received awards from IEEE for outstanding contributions to 802.11 AY, and the Wi-Fi Alliance Leadership Recognition Award for Wi-Fi 6 launch. Dr. Chen earned his BE degree from Electronics and Information Engineering from Guozhou University of Science and Technology, Wuhan, China, and his master's and PhD degrees from Electrical Engineering from Northwestern University. Without any further ado, let's welcome our speaker.
Yeah, first of all, yeah, thank you very much, Raz and Brady, for the invitation, for the organization. Thank you very much, and also thank you everyone for joining the call. It's a great honor for me to give a talk here on Wi-Fi 8. So yeah, I believe that Raz has already given an introduction for me, so you know me a little bit. So okay, then let's get started. So today, I'm going to primarily talk about Wi-Fi 8, and the title of my talk is "The Next Leap in Wireless: Inside the Evolution from Wi-Fi 7 to 8." So this is going to be a major a tutorial talk to basically to help you go through what are the major features, what are the major use cases, and what we would expect from the latest Wi-Fi technology, which is Wi-Fi 8. Okay, okay, let's get started. So before we embark on the journey to Wi-Fi 8, let's take a brief recap of the history of Wi-Fi. So actually, the Wi-Fi was developed more than I believe around 40 or 30 years ago. And the first Wi-Fi standard was 802.11, and then we have .11a. So it's alphabetic order. So it's A to Z, and now AA to AZ, and now we started making BN or BQ, something like that. And also we about 5 or 6 years ago, we started to use the numeric order to kind of differentiate the different generations of Wi-Fi technology, because the alphabetic is 802.11a or N or AX. These are two sometimes are a little bit confusing. So using the numeric order is easier for people to understand. So I think the first popular Wi-Fi technology that really hit the market and become very popular and brings basically Wi-Fi to everyday life started back in 2007, where Wi-Fi 4 was first launched. And Wi-Fi 4 was basically based on the 802.11n standard. So this is the first, I would say, very commercially successful Wi-Fi standard. And we still have lots of Wi-Fi 4 devices existing currently in everyday life. So the major features brought by Wi-Fi 4 includes like 4x4 MIMO, 40 MHz channel, 64 QAM, and Wi-Fi 4 can operate in two bands, 2.4 and 5 GHz band, and the maximum data rate can bring to like 600 megabits per second. That's already a pretty decent data rate for many applications. And then starting from that, we start to the evolving Wi-Fi from Wi-Fi 4 to Wi-Fi 5, 6, 7. So Wi-Fi 5 was based on IEEE 802.11ac. This is the standard basis for this Wi-Fi 5 technology. It was only for 5 GHz band operation, and the major features include like up to 8x4 MIMO, and then downlink MIMO technology was first introduced by Wi-Fi 5, and we expanded bandwidth to like 80 and 160 MHz. And also the modulation to 256 QAM. And by introducing these new technologies, we can boost the max data rate to up to 7 gigabits per second. It was launched like 2013, so 6 years after Wi-Fi 4. And then the next major one is Wi-Fi 6, based on IEEE 802.11ax. And then one of the key differentiation with between Wi-Fi 6 and the early generation now, it has a new band available, which is 6 GHz band. Particularly in the US, FCC has opened this 6 GHz band, exclusively for unlicensed operation for Wi-Fi. And in the other regions of the world, most countries have also at least opened partial of the 6 GHz band, either in the upper band or lower band. While in some other countries, for example, like in China, 6 GHz band is still not available for Wi-Fi. It's only available for like standard technology. But for most countries in the world, 6 GHz band is already available for Wi-Fi. Okay, and key features introduced by Wi-Fi 6 include OFDMA, uplink, downlink MIMO, target wake time, and 1024 QAM. And we also kind of enhance the security by introducing the most updated WPS3 security. The max data rate can be up to 9.6 GB per second. It was launched like August 2019, only like 6 years ago. And in particular, we have like a sub-certification called Wi-Fi 6E. It exclusively focuses on Wi-Fi 6 in 6 GHz band operation. That was launched in January 2021 after the FCC has opened the band for Wi-Fi. Okay. And now the most updated Wi-Fi technology available commercially. Also, if you go to Best Buy or if you go to like whatever electronic store, you can find this. This is the most updated Wi-Fi technology devices you would be able to purchase. It's Wi-Fi 7. It was launched 2 years ago, December 2023, and it was based on IEEE 802.11be. Actually, this standard was recently published. The final version was already published by IEEE. It enables operation in all the three available bands in the lower band, 2.4, 5, and 6 GHz band. And one of the key features introduced by multi-link operation, which I'm going to introduce a little bit in next few slides. The channel bandwidth now we by introducing the 6 GHz band, we'll be able to further expand the channel bandwidth from 160 to 320 GHz. This is the largest bandwidth we can have. And also we kind of further introduce like 4K QAM as a available modulation to kind of to further increase the data rate. And also we have like something like called puncturing technique. The max data rate, because we have multi-link, right? Potentially we can enable all three links and then let them transmit together to kind of to aggregate the throughput. So the max data rate defined by this standard on a single link, only one of the link is like 23 gigabits per second. But if you use multi-link operation, which activate multiple links together, it can be as high as 35 gigabits per second. Okay, this is basically a brief history of Wi-Fi 7. So now we are developing Wi-Fi 8, which is the focus of this presentation. Wi-Fi is still under development, and it was based on majorly based on IEEE 802.11bn, which I'm also going to describe later. So anyway, in summary, the because of the evolution of these Wi-Fi technologies, the data rate for typical 2x2 client has increased by like 500 times in 20 years, and we are still pushing this data rate forward, to even higher region. So that's basically the history of Wi-Fi. Okay, then yeah, as I mentioned earlier, let me give you guys a brief recap of the key enhancements or key features introduced by Wi-Fi 7, which is the latest commercially available Wi-Fi technologies, which was launched like 2 years ago. So for the for the physical layer part, the major features for Wi-Fi 7 include the following. First of all, we have a wider bandwidth. The 320 megahertz support was firstly introduced by Wi-Fi 7. It is only available in the 6 GHz band. In 2.4 or 5 GHz, we won't be able to have 320 megahertz channel available. But in 6 GHz band, we can have a 320 megahertz band, 320 megahertz channel. Sorry. And then in order to boost the peak rate, Wi-Fi 7 introduced 4K QAM as the highest modulation available. So that's a pretty high order modulation for communications. And then for the resource allocation, we have some enhanced resource allocation feature called multiple resource units, which means basically when you are doing off-DMA, conventionally you can only allocate one piece of resource unit, one set of subcarriers to a single state. Multiple RU basically says you can allocate multiple resources, multiple subcarrier to a single state, so that to increase the efficiency. All right. So this is the comparison table. Basically, compared with Wi-Fi 6, the maximum channel bandwidth is doubled from 160 to 320. The highest modulation order, increased from 1K QAM to 4K QAM. The maximum space range remained to be the same, to be 8. And max data rate is more than doubled from 9.6 gigabits per second to 23. And the resource allocation is like single RU to multi-RU. That's the major 5 features for Wi-Fi 7. And here the table illustrating the data rate comparison. You can see, by introducing like 320 megahertz, we can boost the data rate significantly compared to previous generations. Okay, this is the 5 enhancement for Wi-Fi 7. And then for the MAC part, for the media access layer part, the key feature is multi-incorporation. So which is, in short, we call it MLO. It basically means that we can have more than one link available activated between the client and the access point. And the link can be in different bands. For example, you can have one link in 2.4, one link in 5 GHz band, and one link in 6 GHz band. So theoretically, you can have up to 3 or even more links operating at the same time. By doing this multi-operation, we can actually improve the performance in various aspects. First of all, we can increase reliability because now we can duplicate some packets across different links. If the packet is pretty critical, right, I can duplicate packets in multiple links. So if one link failed, that's fine because you still have the other links available to transmit the critical packet. We can also boost the throughput because we can aggregate the data rate across different links, right? If you have a really large data to transfer, now we can break it into pieces and divide them into different links and transmit them together. So to aggregate the throughput provided by different links. We can also improve the latency because now we have multiple links. I can do load balancing across different links. If one link becomes really congested, and then I can move some of the packets from that link to another link, which is it's more open. It's not that congested. So this is latency improvement. We can also achieve some like traffic separation differentiation because we have multiple links. For example, you can designate one link as solely for critical packets or latency sensitive traffic, so that you make sure those traffic will be always prioritized. So this figure illustrates some of the benefits of multi-operation. Like by throughput boost, it basically means that you can aggregate the multiple links together to let them transmit at the same time, between the AP and the state, so that you can enjoy the throughput aggregation with the multiple links. Or you can try to improve latency. For example, originally I have too many states in the 2.4 GHz band, which causes congestion. And then because I have multiple links, so I can move some of the stations. For example, here I move station 3 to 5 GHz band, and then there is another new state. Instead of putting it to 2.4, which is already congested, I can put this new state to 6 GHz band. Now, each band, each link will only have like a small number of states, which and then would make sure the latency is guaranteed. We don't have any congestion in any of the link. Here, illustrate the increased reliability. If you have a really critical packet, right, it's a really critical packet, you can duplicate the packet in multiple links. And then even if one of the links failed, right, the packet failed to be transmitted, that's fine because you still have another. As long as one of the links is successful, the critical packet will be transmitted successfully. So this would significantly increase the reliability. And also we have traffic separation differentiation. For example, if you have some states which the major traffic of which are TSN traffic, the latency sensitive traffic, time sensitive traffic, right? And then you can, for example, you can designate one link, say 6 GHz band. You only put those states or those traffic on this particular link. Then you make sure this link will only be used for this latency sensitive traffic, and for the other links you use it for normal for other transmission. So in this case we kind of achieve the traffic separation differentiation. So that's the kind of the primary benefits of multi-configuration. It's really one of the key features introduced by Wi-Fi 7. Okay, after talking about the Wi-Fi 7, then let's take an initial look at Wi-Fi 8. So generally speaking, if you look at Wi-Fi 7 and the previous like Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 5 technologies, the major objective is always to try to optimize the networking support, which means that I want higher throughput, right? Like one slide I showed, in 20 years the maximum throughput was increased by 20 times. We always want to have a higher data rate, higher throughput. That's kind of always one of the major objectives. And now starting in Wi-Fi 8 is we're kind of changing the philosophy here, because we're kind of approaching the limit of the data rate. It's already like with Wi-Fi 7 with multi-link, we can already have like up to 23 gigabits per second throughput, which is more than enough for most of the existing applications, right? And most of the existing applications actually don't require even higher data rate, but because now the throughput is sufficient to cover most applications. Now, the focus of the next generation technology, which is Wi-Fi 8, now is kind of shifting from the solely focus on the optimized network support to different aspects. So, for example, like Wi-Fi 8, which is primarily based on 802.11bn. 11bn, the lane of this standard is called UHR, which is short for ultra high reliability. So by just looking at the lane of this standard, you will see, one of the focus is on the reliability, because we are now realizing, actually for most of the existing applications, the throughput or data rate is not the bottleneck anymore. It's more about the reliability or deterministic. We need to improve in this aspect as opposed to just focusing on boosting the high throughput, boosting the high data rate. And also now more and more customers or the applications are calling for enhanced privacy and security. Privacy and security have drawn more and more attention in Wi-Fi area. So that's another focus we are trying to improve in Wi-Fi 8. Of course, we will still have some improvement for network support, but we are also focused on these areas. And another important area, which is also kind of currently one of the most popular topics, is about the AI. So, as one of the most important wireless connectivity technology, Wi-Fi also tries to connect to AI and try to enable AI applications as much as we can. So then in the next few slides, I will basically try to introduce each of these elements as the objective of Wi-Fi 8, and introduce the related features that are designed to support these elements. Okay. So first of all, let's focus on the LAN-BN. As I said earlier, the major basis for Wi-Fi 8 is on is the IEEE 802.11bn standard, which is called UHR, ultra high reliability. So the focus of this 11bn is on delivering stronger reliability and determinism, because it's called ultra high reliability. So we have to have new technology, new techniques to improve the reliability. So this table basically summarizes the major features defined so far in 11bn standard that aims to strive to improve the reliability and determinism. So it has different domains. We have the physical layer features, 5 features. We have multi-AP, multiple AP coordination features. We have some features focused on improving the spectral efficiency. Some features focus on improve the determinism to make the Wi-Fi delivery more deterministic. And we have some power save feature to further optimize the power consumption for both AP and the state. And also we have some features focused on improving the coexistence between Wi-Fi and some other technologies, say Bluetooth or UWB. And then we have some features to improve roaming, which is also has always been a pain point for Wi-Fi users. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this table because I'm in the next slide, next 20 slides, I'm going to introduce each of the features briefly. So and then we can take a look at each feature to see how this feature supports the reliability and determinism or throughput for Wi-Fi 8. Okay, then let's focus on the network and support, open network support. This element. So again, we need some feature to kind of enhance the data rate or the overall networking experience. So this feature. So let me start with first feature, which is Liu MCS modulation and coding schemes. So basically, Wi-Fi 8 introduced 4 new MCS with index of MCS 17, 19, 20, 27. So the major motivation for adding the new thing trying to close the gaps between some neighboring MCS to make the MCS selection more the granularity, increase the granularity. This is good for the link capitation because if the MCS if neighboring MCS is the bigger gap between MCS, then it will be hard for the device to do link adaptation. So by introducing this more MCS, we kind of fill the gaps between some MCS so that the device can do the link adaptation more smoothly. So this is just one feature defined. So these 4 MCS in between, so to make the link adaptation more smoothly. And then the second one is called unequal modulation. So UEQN stands for unequal modulation. So this modulation is this feature. The motivation for this feature is basically conventionally when we are doing MIMO, when we are sending multiple spatial streams, right? We always have some one spatial stream which is relatively weak and the other spatial which is very strong. And conventionally, if we use the same modulation for multiple spatial streams, some of which are weak, some which are strong, then would cause some problems. Basically, it's imbalanced SNR among different spatial streams. So recognizing some spatial stream may be weak, some may be strong in terms of SNR. That's why we introduce this unequal modulation. So we kind of use different modulations for different spatial streams. For the weak ones, we use the lower MCS, we use a lower data rate. For the strong ones, we use higher data rate to kind of to make it more balanced. And also we can further improve the throughput because otherwise we have to use the lower MCS, the same MCS for both weak and strong spatial streams. That would cause some waste in the throughput. Okay, this is unequal modulation. Yeah, the figures basically show some throughput increase after employing this new technique compared with the previous generation, which did not have the technique. The next major 5 feature defined by Wi-Fi 8 is called LDBC lifting, which is 2 times LDBC. So this is basically to introduce to enhance the coding performance for this high data rate. For example, if you want to use 8 spatial streams, 4K quad modulation, and 320 MHz bandwidth, the longer LDBC word, by doubling the LDBC word code length, we can enhance the coding performance significantly. These two figures basically illustrate the SNR improvement if we use a two times LDBC. So the blue curve, is better than the black curve in terms of the SNR gain. So that's because we use the 2 times LDBC. That's very obvious gain, and it was already defined and introduced in Wi-Fi 8. All right, another one. Next one is called distributed resource allocation, or DRU, distributed resource unit. So this feature is mainly motivated by the 6 GHz band operation, because in 6 GHz band operation we have this LPI mode, no power mode. If a state operated in this mode, we have this very strict PSD limitation. So it's like -1 dBm per megahertz. So this PSD limitation significantly limits the uplink coverage range. But if we use regular RUs, so but by doing distributed RUs, we can achieve the uplink transmission power boost, enhance the overall 6 GHz cover range. And in Wi-Fi 11BN, we define the DRU for different bandwidth, 20, 40, 60, 80 megahertz, and use that to do the power boosting for the 6 GHz operation. So this is DRU. And then we have the new mode called enhanced long range. So yeah, the length speaks for itself, right? It's basically used to increase the range of transmission. So the use case is mainly for the outdoor-indoor IoT application, which need a longer range. For example, if it's a one, it's video doorbells. So it's on the door, which may be far away from your access point in your home. Then we need to make sure, the Wi-Fi transmission can reach to this long range. And the design goal is to try to improve the link budget by 6 dB in the lower band for the uplink, and for the downlink, it's on the 2.6 GHz. Also increase link budget by 6 dB so that we can reach to a longer distance. It's longer range, better manageability, better power saving, and higher lateral efficiency. By doing this, we basically just introduced a new PBDU format, which called enhanced long range PBDU format. We introduced this new field here to try to make it more robust and improve the link budget by 6 dB. Okay, this is ELR. All right, I think that's basically all the features introduced in Wi-Fi 8 to try to optimize the level of support, increase data rate, increase the transmission range, something like that. And now I'll go through some features which focus on the reliability and the determinism. These are mostly like, say, MAC features. All right, the first feature is called MBCA, which is short for LAN primary channel access. So currently in Wi-Fi,
Cheng,
sure,
is it okay to interrupt?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So basically, I also wanted to ask if anybody has any question, maybe you can interrupt and ask questions as Cheng go through. I have a question. So you talked about Wi-Fi 6, 7, and now 8, single RU, multi-RU. The one question is, single RU, is that basically different sizes of RUs are there, or it's just single size? There must be multiple.
Oh, you have different sizes, but for
Different
each
size.
size,
Okay.
you can only allocate one. Yeah.
Okay. And in the multi-RU, is that contiguous? It has to be contiguous, or there is no contiguous multi-RUs?
I think it can be non-contiguous.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Thank you. Yeah. And now you talked about the dynamic. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that, the dynamic part?
This is not dynamic, it's more distributed.
Oh, I'm sorry, distributed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Can you elaborate a little bit more? I missed that point.
Oh, it's basically like a regular RUs, right? It's like it's always like collocated together. But not distributed RU, you can just allocate one subcarrier here, and in between you don't allocate then another subcarrier here, and then another subcarrier here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Single RU can have multiple subcarriers in a
Yes.
distributed way. Okay. All
Mm.
right. Yeah. Thank you. Just wanted to double check if others have question, can they interrupt at the beginning, in the middle, or do you want people to wait until the last, after you
Oh,
finish?
sure, yeah, because I couldn't see the chat window or raise hand
Correct,
function.
correct.
So
Yeah.
I'm fine either way. If you have any question, if you want to raise that
Okay.
in between, feel free to do that. Yeah.
If too many questions comes, then we will
Sure.
stop that questioning and we will go to the at the end. Okay. Thank
Sure,
you. Thank you for
Mhm. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Then I could continue with this non-parameter channel access. So currently in Wi-Fi, you can only access a channel provided that your primary channel is available, is free. So whenever your primary channel is occupied, you sense, because Wi-Fi, right, we have this listen before talk. You always listen first, and then if you sense something is ongoing, you will defer channel access. If you sense the meeting is free, you go ahead. So whenever you sense your primary channel is busy, you wouldn't be able to transmit. So that's the current rule for the channel access. So which causes some kind of waste, because, for example, if I have this 80-meter channel, and the primary channel is always a 20-meter channel, by the way. So, and then I sense the primary 20 meters, okay, it's occupied, and then I will have to defer channel access. But in the meanwhile, the remaining 6-meter channel actually might be available. But for current rule, whenever your primary channel is busy, you cannot transmit. So that causes a lot of spectrum waste, because it's possible that only the primary 20-meter channel is busy, but the remaining 60 meters secondary channels actually are available. So that's why we introduce this non-primary channel access. It basically allows an AP in the state to communicate on a non-primary channel when the primary channel is busy due to OBSS traffic. For example, in this figure, you have a primary 20-meter channel here, and then when you sense the channel here, you realize, okay, the nav, which is the network allocation vector, which is basically indicating, okay, someone is occupying the channel. Then okay, someone is occupying the channel until here. So the 20-meter channel is busy. So without this technique, you have to wait after the ongoing transmission is ending, is complete, and then you can start transmission. But NBC allows you to go to secondary channels. Your primary channel is busy, that's fine. I go to secondary channels, and the secondary channel turns out to be available, turns out to be free, and then I will be able to transmit my packet in the secondary channel. Say, if this is a 20-meter channel, then I have my secondary 20-meter is available, then I could go there and transmit. All right. This is the net figure and fair figure. Actually, the philosophy is the same, but it's just the net figure is you do that after control frame change. But K2 is you switch to the secondary channel after detecting OBS PPDU. So it's just different mechanism, but the philosophy is the same. Is that when you detect your primary channel is busy, you can go to the secondary channel to do the transmission. That's why it's called non-primary channel access. Okay. Then the second feature that introduced to improve the spectrum efficiency is called dynamic subband operation. So again, this is a feature aiming to improve the spectrum efficiency, improve the spectrum utilization. So what happened here is that, for example, if you have an AP, you have a wideband AP. So because currently most AP need support up to 1 centimeters bandwidth or even 3 times meters, but many clients actually have narrow support for the bandwidth. So assume this, we have like a 1 centimeters AP, and we have two 80 meters states. Okay, again, per current rule, both these states will stay in the primary 80 in the low, say in here. This is the primary 80, and the above one is the secondary 80 meters, and in total is 1 centimeter channel, right? So per current rule, both states will have to stay in the primary 80 to be able to talk to the AP. But the problem is that if one of the states occupies the primary 80 here and talks to the AP, then state 2 wouldn't be able to talk to the AP here in the primary 80. So in this case, because the secondary 80 actually is free, right? Because this state 1 only occupies 80, but the AP actually has 1 centimeter channel available. So DSO would allow the AP to allocate this secondary 80 meter channel to the second state, so that both states use 80 meter channel, but one state use the primary 80, and the second state use the secondary 80. This would make sure that we fully utilize this 1 centimeter channel by doing the by allocating to different states, which cannot be done today. So this is the basic idea for this DSO. Okay. And then we have another technique called DBE, which is another technique trying to optimize the spectrum utilization. It's called dynamic bandwidth expansion. So what happened here is, sometimes when an AP, right, even if it's 1 centimeter capable, it only operates on 40 meters at some time. This is particularly popular in enterprise environment, because in enterprise, for example, in the office or in a retail store, where you have many APs deployed in the same office. So typically, these APs, each AP will try to occupy a narrow channel so that you can maximize the channel frequency reuse. Because if one AP occupies the say a very wide channel, then all the nearby APs wouldn't be able to occupy the same channel, because it will cause a lot of co-channel interference. So that's why in enterprise environment, typically the AP, even though the AP can operate in 1 centimeter channel in a wide channel, but in most of the time they actually operate in 40 meters, right? But then in this case, what if a nearby channel becomes available, right? Are you still only operating in 40 meter channel? That will cause a lot of waste. So that's why we introduce this dynamic bandwidth expansion that allows the AP to dynamically in operation with an expanded bandwidth that is greater than the operating bandwidth, but it is still within the AP's maximum supported bandwidth. What happens here is that initially the AP is configured to operate only on 40 meters, but then if somehow it gets to know that the nearby the wider channel is available, like 1 centimeter is channelable, and I have this capability. So I would advertise that capability and also the intention to operate in a wider channel in the beacon, so that my states, if my clients, if some of the clients are able to also operate in 1 meters, they will understand, okay, from this point, the AP will expand its channel to 1 meters, and then I would also be able to operate as 1 meters. And then after this time, it will shrink back to its original operating bandwidth, which is 40 meters, because probably it knows that, okay, starting from this time, this channel, this part of channel will be occupied by my nearby APs. So it's kind of like a dynamic bandwidth expansion to allow an AP to opportunistically expand its bandwidth, its operating bandwidth, and also opportunistically talk with the clients in a larger bandwidth, even though its operating bandwidth is still in a narrow band. Okay. All right, I think that's the 3 different techniques. MBCA focus on the secondary channel access when the primary channel is busy, and the DSO focus on allocating all the available bandwidth to clients with narrow band support. And DBE focus on enabling a narrow band AP to dynamically or opportunistically expand its bandwidth to a larger bandwidth channel, particularly in enterprise environment. So these are the three different techniques introduced in Wi-Fi 8 on this, channel usage, try to enhance the spectrum utilization. Okay, then I'll talk about roaming. So if you use Wi-Fi, you would often experience the roaming scenarios where you walk away and with an existing access point, and when the distance is large enough, you have to disconnect your current AP and then try to connect to a different AP. This roaming between different APs has always been a pain point for Wi-Fi because currently, in order to roam between different APs, you have to disconnect from the existing AP. When you are walking away from this AP, you have to dissociate from this AP first. And then when you walk close enough to a second AP, you would also need to reassociate to the second AP. So this kind of disconnection and then reconnection typically cause service interruption for client, because during the disconnection period, you wouldn't have any Wi-Fi service available because you are disconnected. So in order to solve this issue, I try to make the roaming more seamless, which means that what if I can roam to a different AP without interrupting my service, without disconnecting and reconnecting? I can always keep my connection and then just seamlessly switch to a different AP. This is the seamless mobility domain business transition, SMD business transition introduced in Wi-Fi 8. Its idea is pretty simple. It just allows the client to transition from its current AP to a different AP without requiring association. So currently, you have to deassociate from the previous AP first before you can associate with the second AP. Now, with the seamless mobility domain business transition, you can always keep your association on, and you can just basically switch the association instead of dissociating and reassociate. So that's the basic idea of this room. Of course, this technique involves a lot of security aspects. You have to share the keys because the different APs have different security keys. How to handle the key transfer, how to handle, for example, the context transfer. Previously, you have some data transmission ongoing with AP1. Now you roam to AP2. You have to transfer this data transmission to a different AP. How to handle this context transfer, data transfer, will be handled in this feature, in more details, which I'm not going to, describe here because it will take a lot of time. But that's the basic idea of the seamless roaming in Wi-Fi 8.
Cheng, one quick question. So is that does it happen in the same frequency band between stay and the AP1 and AP2, or it has to be different band, or both available? Possible?
You have to be in the same link, in the same band, basically. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. The next feature focused on enhancing the latency for the time-sensitive traffic. It's called prioritized EDCA. So EDCA is short for enhanced distributed channel access. It's a basic channel access scheme for Wi-Fi. So every Wi-Fi device will have to comply with this rule to try to transmit access a channel. So EDCA basically means that you have to listen to the meeting and see if the meeting is busy. If the meeting is busy, you have to defer access, and then you have to invoke a random backup counter. So the backup counter, when the backup counter reaches 0, you'll be able to you will sense the meeting again. If the meeting is free, then you can transmit. Otherwise, you have to freeze your transmission and wait and sense that meeting again. Okay. But then this would cause some problem for the time-sensitive traffic, because if the time-sensitive traffic, it will have to transmit it as soon as possible, right? But if I still comply with the conventional EDCA rule, I have to compete the channel access with all the NACC clients, right? In a very dense environment, assuming that there are like dozens of or even hundreds of clients, you have to compete with all the peers to make sure you can win. But then the winning possibility would be pretty low because you have to compete with too many NACC clients. But now you have some time-sensitive traffic to transmit. What can you do? Well, how can you prioritize my traffic? So in this case, we kind of introduce this new new variant of EDCA, which calls prioritized EDCA, which means that particularly for this kind of stations with latency sensitive traffic, I can give you some priority to access the channel. So instead of competing with all the clients, including the NACC client, which does not have any latency traffic, but which basically is like a best ever traffic, instead of competing with all of them, I just compete with the same set of states that all have latency sensitive traffic. And these states will be isolated from the rest of the states at the beginning of contention period. These states will be able to send a defer signal to try to silence the other states. So the other states will go to a backup counter, go to a mode to defer the channel access, and then the median will be only available for this small set of states to compete. So it's basically that you have it's like in the airport, right? You have the TSA pre queue, and if you don't have a TSA pre, you have the normal queue. So these states will be prioritized because they have this capability called prioritized access. So it's like they can enter the TSA pre queue to compete with NAS devices, and then you can go through the security check faster. So that's the basic idea of this prioritized PEDCA. Okay, this will significantly improve the channel access possibility for these states that have latency sensitive traffic. Okay. All right. The next part talks about coexisting enhancement. So currently, if you have a Wi-Fi available state, most likely, the Wi-Fi devices share the radio with other technology. For example, Bluetooth. For example, and it's for Intel. If you have a laptop operated by Intel CPU, most likely the Wi-Fi chip and the Bluetooth chip are also designed by Intel, and they share the same radio. So the same radio is used for both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And also, if you have UWB, ultra wide bandwidth radio, there is also a possibility that you share the same radio with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So use the same radio for different technologies. This is because by integrating this different technology into the same radio, we can have much lower system complexity and more efficient use of available resources. Of course, it also decreases the cost because we only have to design one radio. Having said that, the drawback for this integrating different technology into a single radio is that it will cause coexisting issues, right? When the Wi-Fi is transmitting, then the Bluetooth cannot. When the Bluetooth is transmitting, then the Wi-Fi function will have to be disabled. And how to improve the coexistence then is important, because if you don't have a good coexistence, right, you have the late data loss. Because if your laptop, if your laptop radio is currently using the radio to transmit Bluetooth traffic, but on the other hand, your access point, your router is talking to you in Wi-Fi, because it doesn't know, right? It doesn't know you are using radio for Bluetooth, not for Wi-Fi. Then the transmission will fail, right? You have packet loss, and then if the traffic is like video traffic, you have to retransmit them, which causes delay and reduce reliability. So in order to resolve this issue, we have to basically try to advertise the unavailability period for AP or for state. If a state is going to use a radio for Bluetooth or for UWB, then you have to tell the AP, hey, I'm going to use my radio I'm going to be unavailable for some time because I'm I'm going away. My radio will be used to transmit Bluetooth, not Wi-Fi. So for this time period, I'm going to be away. I'm unavailable. Please don't transmit to me. The same for the AP, right? If the AP is using the radio to transmit other stuff, you will also have to tell say, hey, I'm going to be unavailable for some period of time. Please don't try to talk to me during this time. So that's the basic idea here. And then because of that, we introduced the mechanisms to try to advertise unavailability. Depending whether the unavailability is dynamic or periodic, we kind of use different mechanisms. One is called DUO, dynamic unavailability operation, or PUO, periodic unavailable operation. So if you are in this mode, you will be able to tell the other side when you will be unavailable and how long you will be unavailable, so that the other side understand, okay, during this period, I'm not going to talk to you. So that's the solution to ensure better coexistence. So we make sure that when I'm transmitting Bluetooth, my access point won't be transmitting to me in Wi-Fi. So that's the basic idea here. Okay, next one is power save. So this is very important, particularly for clients, like for your laptop, for your smartphones, for your iPads or smart tablets, right? Because these devices are typically battery powered. You definitely don't want to drain your power very quickly. So you have to make sure they can operate on power save mode. You know, you would turn off your transmission when during a period of time where you don't have any traffic to send. We already have a lot of power saving mechanism defined in .11, but it's still not enough because with more and more applications emerging and more advanced technologies, the power consumption is higher. So, but the battery power also, of course, is higher. But you want to make sure you save your power as much as you can, so your battery doesn't drain quickly. So 11BM basically further refines the power save by introducing this kind of dynamic power save mode. What it means is basically when you are listening to the link, right? Because as a Wi-Fi device, you always have to listen to the link, listen to the medium to see if there is something going on. If there is something going on, you wouldn't be able to transmit. But if it's free, then you will be able to transmit. So that's why you most of the time you have to listen to the link. So currently, when you are listening to link, the device is using its full capability, which means that I'm turning the maximum bandwidth available. I'm turning my full 5 capabilities, like 2 spatial streams, full receive mode operation, something like that, which causes a lot of power consumption. Because if you are only listening to the link, you don't have to listen in a wide band, right? You don't have to listen in a wide channel like 80 megahertz. You don't have to turn your multiple receive chains to spatial streams. You can just stay in the minimum mode available. For example, that's the basic idea. So we introduce this kind of no capability mode. It's basically used for when you are only listening link. You don't have any active traffic to transmit, but you are just listening. You are just monitoring link. You can operate in no capability mode to reduce power consumption. And if you have some traffic to transmit or receive, you have to switch to high capability mode to maximize your transceiver capability. So low capability mode basically means the minimum mode, which is the minimum bandwidth, which is 20 megahertz, only one spatial stream, very lower PPDU format, non-HTTP format with very small data rate to make sure that your power consumption is minimized. But if you have some traffic to transmit, you switch back to your high capability mode. For example, you would be able to operate on 80 megahertz channel, 2 spatial streams, high data rate. So that's a dynamic power save. What it is about. All right, next I'll talk about multi-AP correlation. This is an important feature introduced Wi-Fi 8 by basically introducing coordination among different APs. So currently, most APs, are operating individually and separately, which means that the AP in your home and the AP in your neighbor's home, basically they operate on their own. There is no coordination at all. So by introducing multi-AP correlation, your AP and your other AP may be able to coordinate so that they don't interfere with each other in both time domain or frequency domain. And they can even cooperate, they can help each other. That's a philosophy of multi-bit coordination. There are different modes here. For example, there used to be a mode where one AP can share its bandwidth to the other AP. I have an 80 meters channel, but I give 40 meters, half of them to the other AP to use. This is called coordinated OFDMA, but it's not supported. It will not supported by Wi-Fi 8. But this coordination time domain, which means that one AP it gets a TXOP, it gets a transmission period, say like 10 milliseconds. But instead of transmitting all the 10 milliseconds, I only transmit 5 milliseconds and allocate the remaining 5 milliseconds to the another AP to help him to transmit. So it's like TDMA manner among different APs. So that's why I called coordinated TDMA. Coordinated RTFT is basically enhancement of RTFT feature defined in Wi-Fi 7, which means that the different APs will try to separate their TWT service period to make sure the TWT period are not overlapping. Because if they are overlapping, it will cause a lot of interfering with each other. And then we have the coordinated spatial reuse, which means that both APs, two APs can transmit in the same frequency domain in the same channel and also in the same period of time. But what I need to do is try to do beamforming to my client so that it's ready to net coordinate beamforming. I try to direct my beam to one direction, which minimize the interference to the other pair of stations, which also have concurrent transmission. And then we have joint processing, but this is not supported in Wi-Fi 8. The idea is that two APs transmit to the same thing, but it will left for future generations. So these are the different modes of multi-bit coordination. And some of them are supporting Wi-Fi 8. Now coordinated TDMA, coordinated RTFT, spatial reuse, beamforming, that's defined in Wi-Fi 8, but some other modes are not. Okay, since I don't have a lot of time left, I'd like to use the next few remaining slides to introduce the other two elements.
Question. Why are some things not? Is that a dropped support that was supported in Wi-Fi 7 but is not supported in 8? And if so, why were they dropped?
No, this is not Wi-Fi 7. This is only in Wi-Fi 8. Wi-Fi 7 doesn't have multi-bit coordination.
But it says it will not be supported in Wi-Fi 8. When will it be? When will it be supported?
So, good question. Okay. For coordinated OFDMA, I think the main reason for not support that is people doesn't see a lot of use cases, a lot of benefits for this mode. It's not that we cannot do this, but it's more like from use case point of view, people doesn't see use case for this.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, it's in the standard, but it's not going to be supported by Intel.
No, it's not in the standard. It was a proposal. It was proposed, but it was not adopted.
Excellent.
Okay. Same for joint processing. It was proposed by some individuals, by some members, but it was not adopted. This one is more due to complexity, because if you want to enable this mode, these two APs will have to do a lot of effort to make sure they can transmit to the same client at the same time. This is more on complexity. It will decide to left for future generation, not for this generation.
Okay, one more question, because the problem in New York City is that there could easily be 100 access points when one goes to connect to an access point, and there's no coordination between them. Is this going to be a proprietary? Is this going to be something that an Intel device will be able to work with a Netgear device, no problems, as long as they're all in Wi-Fi 8? Is this possible or not going to be possible?
It's possible. That's the key for this standard, right? As long as you support Wi-Fi 8, no matter whether this device is manufactured by Netgear or by TP-Link, you will be able to coordinate with each other as long as you support this standard.
Yes, and you can understand that with hundreds of access points visible simultaneously, that this sort of coordination is super important to get, especially if people are using the 80 megahertz channels. This could be a disaster otherwise. Thank you. Good.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Okay, I'll try to use the next probably 5 or 10 minutes to introduce the other two elements of Wi-Fi 8. the reason why I spend most of the time introducing the first two elements is because both of them are majorly defined by 802.11bn, which is a major basis for Wi-Fi 8. But Wi-Fi 8 actually is not restricted to 11bn. So you cannot put a equal sign between Wi-Fi 8 and 11bn. That's not true. Wi-Fi 8 also includes features defined by other standards. Not as big as 11bn because 11bn is the mainstream Wi-Fi standard, but we also have some side standard, small standard focused on a specific domain. So for example, security, AI embedding, I will talk about that later. So for enhanced privacy and security, Wi-Fi 8, will try to deliver stronger privacy and security by introducing enhancement in various aspects. So Wi-Fi 8 will include several features. Some of them defined by 11bn, but some of them actually defined by other standards. So for 11bn, we are currently developing improved security while roaming. So roaming, seamless roaming, I just mentioned. It also has a lot of security perspectives included. For example, how to handle the key transfer in the roaming, how to do the contact transfer while preserving privacy. That's very important. That's why there are some security aspects in that. And another standard called REL-MF, which is the master standard for .11, actually has defined control frame protection. This is a very important security feature because the operation of Wi-Fi networks relies on a lot of control frames. These frames basically are critical to manage the network and do some enable and disable some functions. But currently these frames are not protected. So if you have a bad device, if I use dropper or bad device, it may easily just send this control frame to their client and try to manipulate you, try to control you. So that's why we define this control frame protection to protect these critical control frames to make sure these control frames are authorized, are trusted, and it's not like a random device can just send this control frame to get control of my device in my home. So that's control frame protection. And we also have privacy enhancement, some privacy feature defined by IEEE 802.11bi, some of which will be included as part of Wi-Fi 8. I'm not going to spend too much time on the detail of this, but just a note, there are some privacy enhancement features defined by this standard that will be introduced by Wi-Fi 8. Okay, the next element is AI enabling. So by AI enabling, now if you look at the Wi-Fi standard, the mainstream Wi-Fi is still focused on throughput, latency, reliability, networking functions. But IEEE 802.11 actually recently has developed several standards focused on the other domains of the Wi-Fi, in addition to communication, in addition to regular data communication. So two examples here, one on Wi-Fi sensing and one on Wi-Fi ranging. So the Wi-Fi sensing is basically based on 802.11bf. This standard was also recently published. So I was lucky to also go through the whole phase of this standard development. I participated in the whole process from the beginning to the publishing of this standard. So I'm pretty familiar with this standard. So this standard is defined mechanism to enable two Wi-Fi devices to do sensing instead of communication, data communication as well. So it's basically one device sending some PPDU, some packets, some sensing packet to the other clients, and the other clients would take measurements over the received packets, measure the CSI, the channel state information, and by measuring the CSI, it will be able to get to identify whether there is something happening in the channel. So it has a vast potential to do a lot of stuff. So for example, it can detect whether a person is nearby or not. Like Intel, about 3 years ago in 2022, Intel launched a CPU which has this function embedded in the Wi-Fi sensing. It can automatically detect whether you are at the PC or you're away. If you are away, it will automatically turn off your PC to secure data. That's based on Wi-Fi sensing, not on camera or other else. You can also use Wi-Fi sensing to do gesture recognition. You can use your finger to control to control the PC, and that's enabled by Wi-Fi sensing. The Wi-Fi the Wi-Fi device, the chip in your PC actually is measuring the channel state, the channel state information between you and between this PC and the AP. So if you are moving your fingers here, it will cause some interruption to the channel, and you will have different channel state information. And then by employing some AI or machine learning algorithm, you'll be able to identify whether your finger is moving and moving in which direction. Okay, and also you have some wellness function. For example, you can use Wi-Fi to even measure your breathing rate, your heart rate, or to identify if some elderly people has fallen in their home. So there are a lot of emerging applications. So this is a new area that attracting a lot of attention. A lot of startups are currently also trying to use Wi-Fi to enable these applications. So this is based on .11bf. And also we have another standard .11az and BK, two standards focus on Wi-Fi ranging or Wi-Fi location. So this is used to use Wi-Fi signal to determine the distance or the location of a specific object. So this can be used for a secure knock, or directionality, session transfer, instant dock wake. So for example, if you can use the Wi-Fi signal to measure your distance between like a smart key with your car, something like that, then you can automatically knock or unlock your car. It's basically using Wi-Fi signal to determine the distance or the location of a specific object. So this is supported by .11az or BK. So these two different aspects are totally different from the conventional data communication, which means that which proves that Wi-Fi can do more than data communication. It can also do sensing, can also or ranging on location. Okay. All right. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the end of my presentation. So yeah. I hope you guys now understand Wi-Fi 8 better, because time is really limited. So I went through many features pretty quickly, but don't worry, if you have any questions or comments, just feel free to ask, and you can also send me an email. And if you want to know more about specific issue, I can definitely provide more detail to you, via email or via offline chat. Yeah, I pause here for any question comments. Thank you.
Hi, Cheng. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. So I had a question about the roaming slide that you
Sure.
had.
Okay, let me go back to roaming.
Seamless roaming. Yes.
Yes.
So I had every client will have its own algorithm for making the roaming decision, right?
Yes.
Do you foresee that now the seamless roaming might be introduced in Wi-Fi 8? Would the algorithm be less strict in terms of roaming? Like if we observe that mostly clients tend not to roam unless they have to, right? And that could I don't know if that is exactly because of the reassociation or if it's to save battery life. So do you foresee the algorithm changing and becoming less strict with seamless roaming?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, first of all, the standard, right? As you correctly said, the roaming algorithm it varies, right? It depends on it varies from implementation to implementation. It depends on the specific implementation. The device, one specific device may have the roaming algorithm in this way. The other one may have it in totally different way. That's totally implementation specific. That's out of scope of standard, because standard typically doesn't define the specific algorithms. It leaves the door open for different implementations. If you want to implement this way, that's fine. If you implement that way, that's fine. As long as when you do the roaming, you comply with the standard rules, that's fine. So, but anyway, your question, you raise a good point. I would say probably yes, because as you correctly said, right, currently some states may be reluctant to roam unless absolutely necessary, because they understand, okay, if I roam, I will have to disconnect and then reconnect, that may cause some service interruption. But now if I can do the seamless roaming, even if I roam, I can still keep connected to the APs, right? I don't have to dissociate. I can still have my data transmission service, uninterrupted. Then probably I would be more willing to roam. That's definitely possible. But again, you know, that's a very implementation specific question. It's it may vary, you know, from one vendor to the other.
Yes, got it. Thank you. And one more question is, you said the protection being introduced in the control frame.
Yes.
What frame do you mean by control frame? Is it part of the management frames?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Then let me give you one question. Sorry, one example. Okay. Yeah, because the space is pretty limited. I didn't in details. There is a specific frame called trigger frame defined by Wi-Fi 6. The trigger frame is used by the AP to trigger a station to transmit uplink data. So when the AP sends you a trigger frame, the client will have to send some data in the uplink. So trigger frame is a control frame. And imagine, right? If you have an illegal device, illegal AP that keeps sending trigger frame to your smartphone. Your smartphone will keep transmitting uplink data, which actually your home AP doesn't require this your smartphone to send data, right? And then it will easily drain out your battery, right? It will keep your smartphone to do transmission, and also it will occupy the channel all the time. So that's one example of the control frame.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
Chen, one more question on that roaming.
Mhm.
And we go in the roaming, do they have to have the same SSID, and does the backhaul have to be on the same subnet, or what are the restrictions on the access points such that
Oh,
roaming will be successful?
Sure. I think currently, if I'm correct, yeah, I need to double check the spec, but I believe the current seamless roaming will have to the AP will have to be in the same ESS, the extended service set. So it had to be in the same. You consider it in the same domain, right? In the same ESS network.
Yeah,
It's not like
okay.
just two random APs. Yeah.
Now, do you have to maintain connections with both before the roaming takes place, or can you get completely out of range of access point 1 before you get into range of access point 2?
Sorry,
In
say it
other words,
again.
Sure. If you get out of range of access point 1, is that any problem for this automatic switching? It sees access point 2 immediately and goes to it.
It depends, right? Because currently, you know, you always have to dissociate with AP1 first before associate to AP2. But now, you know, you can keep associating with AP1, but then you can complete the association with AP2 at the same time, and then you then disconnect from AP1, and then but you already connect to AP2. But if you are out of range, then you have to you have to be forced to dissociate because you cannot receive signal anymore, right?
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I have a question, Cheng. The multi-link operation in Wi-Fi 7, any vendors have already implemented and available in the market at this point, or it is still?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. I believe it's already available in the market as long as it's like a Wi-Fi 7 certified device. Because I participate in the Wi-Fi 7 certification. The marking feature is a mandatory feature. Basically, every Wi-Fi 7 certified device, if you have a Wi-Fi 7 certified trade mark on the device, it means that you have to pass the test to make sure you support the marking operation. Your marking operation is compliant with the standard.
Wow, I see. Okay, okay, thank you. Then
that's a mandatory feature in Wi-Fi 7 certification. Every Wi-Fi 7 certified device will have to pass the test.
Any other questions? There are no other questions, let's thank the speaker one more time. It's a very informative, comprehensive tutorial kind of a presentation, Cheng, that you provided today. Thank you so much for taking extra time.
No worries. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Doctor. Very interesting.
One quick question, one more question. These slides, would that be available so that Pradeep can put it in the link or something? You can decide and you can let us know in the
Oh,
subject.
sure. Yeah. Let me talk internally to see if that's allowed by my employer. But I believe so. But let me
Yeah.
double check.
If you want to, remove some of those slides, that's fine too.
Okay.
If
Sure.
there is anything.
I believe it should be, because all of this should be public. It's already
Right.
in the standard, in the spec. Everyone can access the standard as long as you are subscribed to IEEE. So I believe so. Yeah. But for safety, let me double check first to make sure I'm complying with my employer's rule. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much again for the really nice presentation. Yeah. All right. Good night, everyone, for listening as well. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night.